So for this video, I will be going over two very common yet powerful tools inside of VBA. The first one is a input box and the other one is a message box. Now the input box is a great way to prompt users to enter a value. And a message box is a great way to inform users anything about your program. For this example, we will be working inside the Boxes Sheet tab. So make sure you have this sheet selected. Our goal is to prompt users to enter a value and have the VBA code insert that value in cell C2. So within our Writing VBA Code module, let's insert a new sub. So we can click inside the code window, type sub, and give it a name. I'm just going to type in user IB, short for input box. Enter. So the code to prompt users with an input box, we need to type in input box. Then open parentheses. And for our first argument inside of our input box, we can provide a prompt. So if we put open quotes, we can tell users to please enter a value, period. Close quotes, and then close parentheses. Now to tell Excel where to insert this value that the user inputs into this input box, we need to specify the range before the input box. So before this input box, we can type in range, open parentheses, open quotes, and we are trying to insert this value in cell C2. Then we can put close quotes and then close parentheses. And lastly, we can put the equal sign, because we want this range to equal whatever the user puts inside the input box. So if we click inside this sub and click play, we are prompted with the input box, and it shows our description of please enter a value. So if I insert 10 and click OK, that value that I inserted into the input box got inserted into the range C2. Now let me show you what a message box is. So if I add a new line, and to create a message box, we have to type in MsgBox. And then we can put open parentheses, and then we can type in a prompt. So we can put open quotes, and I'm just going to say, this is a message box, period, close quotes, then close parentheses. So now if we run this sub, it's going to prompt us with the input box because that's the first line in our sub. So this time I can enter a value of 15, click OK, and then our message box pops up saying this is a message box, and we can click OK. Now let's try to combine the input box with the message box. So just for an easy example, let's say that we want to inform users what they entered into the input box. So within our message box, we can type in the value that you entered is, and then from here, we can reference our C2 range to get the value. So we can put space, close quotes, and to combine our range reference, we can put space, ampersand sign, space, and then we can type in range, open parentheses, open quotes, C2, because that's the cell that our value's in, close quotes, then close parentheses. And then we can delete the period and the quotes at the end of this line. So now if we run this sub, we get prompted with the input box, and let's say I put 20, and when I click OK, now we get our message box saying the value that you entered is 20. So even though that we didn't put 20 in our message box, with combining this message box with our range object, we were able to get the value inside of our message box. And we can just click OK. So that was a little intro for an input box and a message box. And these are great tools to help guide users through your program. And later in the course, we will learn how we can control what the user can input into the input box.